Okay, so let me tell you a story. It's about 3 years ago. I was a little skinny kid with no impulse control whatsoever, no self-worth. I had just a few friends, a weak mind. I didn't actually have any kind of discipline. I just didn't really have control over my own body. I would think, oh, I want to do this, maybe do it for like a week max, and then just stop because I didn't feel like it. And I wasn't very happy with that because you don't get any form of accomplishments when you only do something for a week at a time and then switch to something else. When you do stuff like that because you don't feel like, you just stop because you don't feel like it anymore. You lack discipline. I lacked discipline a lot. I was doing bad habits all the time. I was playing video games 5 hours a day. I went to school, then went home, played video games, had dinner, then played video games again, then went to sleep and repeat every day. And in the weekends, I didn't have to go to school, so we just play video games every day. It all revolved around playing video games my entire life at that point. I wasn't speaking to any girls whatsoever because first they all thought I was kind of weird. That was probably because I was weird. I was this little skinny kid with greasy weird hair and some weird glasses and not any kind of social skills. I didn't even know how to actually speak to any normal person. I had some semi-weird friends with weird social skills. Some of them knew how to speak to girls, but they were in this friend group, so girls wouldn't really want to speak with them. But at one point, I discovered self-improvement, and with that, I started meditating as well. And I think that's one of the things with going to the gym and building a strong body that's built my mind extremely well. Because when I started meditating, I started analyzing my own thoughts and thinking, why am I thinking this? Because that's what meditating is for. And when you meditate, you get to actually think about, why am I thinking this? Why am I not doing what I want to do? Because I wanted to do the things. I wanted to, at some point, be a professional gamer, but then I just switched games every few weeks because I didn't feel like that game anymore. So I couldn't even be consistent with the game. That's how bad it was. With this meditation, I learned how to analyze my feelings and my thoughts and how to distance myself from those thoughts, because I learned my thoughts are not who I am. My thoughts are something that my brain thinks of. It doesn't define me. So if I think, oh, I don't want to do this, maybe that's just because it's hard and I actually want to do it, but the brain is challenging me because there's an easier way. But the easy way is not the best way. The easy way is almost the worst way every time. So if you choose to listen to your brain and take the easy path, you will almost always end up on a harder path in the end, because it's quite a bit easier to have a great body and know how to speak to women and have a great paying job as well than to be depressed, no kind of social interaction, staying in your mom's basement, playing some kind of video game, smoking weed, without any kind of success in life, because then you'll be depressed. The most people who kill themselves are actually those guys, okay? The guys who don't do anything in life and just stay depressed forever. And that kind of proves the fact that it's probably the hardest way in the end. Because you just don't kill yourself if life is not hard. So that's kind of a great way of proving that the easy choices lead to the hard ending. Another bonus with meditating is also the fact that you learn to be present in the moment. And being present is one of the greatest skills when showing love to women. Because if you're not focused on that woman in the second and in the moment, she can't feel as loved as if you're actually there. Because if you sit on your phone, not really concentrating, not really actually paying attention to her, she doesn't feel loved the same way as if you Stare her directly in the eyes. Look her directly in the eyes. It's not the same if you're not present, and women will feel that, especially good women. So if you want a good, loving, beautiful woman, you will have to learn how to be present in the moment and not be thinking about other things, like maybe even if you're productive, you might be thinking about work and fitness. But if your woman can feel that you're not present in the moment, she will feel like you don't love her the same as if you are. And that will actually negatively affect her and her mood and also her love for you, because she knows that only the strongest men know how to be great, think great thoughts, and then pause that to actually be with her. It's actually not that hard starting to meditate, because it's the same as every other habit. You can just start with doing 1 minute a day, just doing some breath work or some kind of meditation. I usually just breathe through the nose and then just focus on my breath, because that's essentially what meditation is, at least the most basic form of meditation. The most basic form of meditation is just where you try to hold focus on your breath, and then at some point, inevitably, you'll lose concentration on your breath, think of something else, but that's totally normal. Everybody does that, unless you're like a monk who's been meditating for his whole life. You can't stay focused on something for more than like a second at most. And when you get those distracting thoughts, the part where you actually gain something is when you understand that you're distracted, think, oh, I'm not focusing on my breath anymore. I have to put my focus back on the breath. Then you take your focus and put it back on the breath. And if you do that, you'll actually gain experience in the skill of acknowledging that you're not present and then moving your focus back to the present moment. It's kind of the same as doing one push-up every time you move your consciousness and your focus back to the breath. It trains your body and your brain to naturally do that throughout the day, so you'll gain more consciousness and more focus in the moment, in the living day. And at some point, if you're just meditating enough, you'll just do that naturally and gain more awareness in life. And the people around you who are actually good people, who's present themselves, will acknowledge that, because there's actually a person who's just as aware as they are. And that's extremely attractive, especially for women. But as I said, just 1 minute a day to start, and then you can always progressively overload over time to maybe say the first few weeks you're just doing 1 minute minimum. You can always do more if you feel like you have extra mental brain power that day. And it's way better to just do 1 minute every day than to do a 10 minute one day and then just not do it for like a few days and then maybe do 3 minutes or 5 minutes, because doing 1 minute a day will actually help you make it a habit, and then over time it will just come naturally that now you have time to meditate, so you just do it automatically. And then you can always, after you gain that routine, just put on more minutes until you maybe even meditate 10 to 15 minutes a day or more. I personally meditate 10 minutes just before I go to sleep, but sometimes I sit down for like 40 minutes just to do meditation for like almost an hour straight. And that's kind of hard, and that's something you should do when you're not used to meditating. But it can also help to like clear your thoughts and maybe gain some kind of clearness in what you want in life and what the purpose of you being here on earth actually is. It's kind of deep, I know, but I think it's very good to actually get these thoughts rather than just numbing your brain with some kind of entertainment on your phone or other entertaining things, like maybe go playing a video game or something like that, because essentially what that is just numbing your brain. Your brain has a lot of power, but by doing those things, you'll actually just take that power and using it on something that doesn't matter whatsoever. So meditating is a great way of gaining this consciousness and this awareness. And it's extremely important because it gives you a moment between thinking a thought of something bad, like I'm gonna eat this candy now, and it gives you like this moment where you can actually gain the realization that, oh, maybe that's not what I'm going to do, because sugar is extremely bad for your body. And it prolongs that moment of time the more you meditate. So maybe the average person will think, oh, I need candy, and then just instantly take it and eat it. But if you've been meditating for a year, you'll maybe get like half a second to a second between the thought of you wanting candy and taking the candy and eating it. And that second of time is sometimes enough to get the realization that, oh, I'm not going to do this anyway. And if you just level up that skill of maybe saying to yourself, this is not actually what I want, it's just my brain that says to me, you should go eat that candy. And in the long term, if you level the skill up enough, you'll be extremely more disciplined and have strong willpower, because of the fact that you gain more time from thinking something your brain wants you to do, to actually doing that thing. And that's one of the most important parts of meditating, and why I think if you want a strong mind, you should be meditating every day. Because maybe you have a strong willpower, but if you're not thinking about not doing it, it's kind of hard to stop doing it. So for example, if I'm not even thinking about it, but just eating candy without thinking about it, it's hard for me to gain the realization that I shouldn't be eating it. But if you gain this fraction of a second to actually think about it, you might get the realization that you shouldn't be doing it. But that's all for me, so thank you for watching.